Welcome friends. Today we'll be looking into the various quality management tools which are used in the formulation, design, control, manufacturing and especially in the processes. Also the various regulatory guidelines which are there, which are used for maintenance of the quality would be looked at. Now why quality is important? Because quality is the heart and soul of any pharmaceutical product. If the product is inconsistent, substandard, poor quality, it is going to pose a risk to the patient's safety as well as life. It can lead to having side effects or can be resulting in fatalities. So maintenance of quality is very, very important, and a lot of stress and energy of the scientists as well as the industries go into maintaining the quality of the product, whether it is a pharmaceutical product or any other kind of product. So management of quality and understanding various rules and techniques for maintenance of the quality is very, very important, and that is what we will be looking in this specific lecture. So the basic concepts and importance of quality management in pharmaceutical manufacturing would be looked at. Also the GMP and how they are followed in different countries would be looked. The role of quality assurance in ensuring safe and effective medicines would be looked at. Also how cleanliness, sanitation and environmental control are important from the product quality maintenance point of view. The importance of checking sweeteners, colorants and other inactive materials in the medicines, which can also lead to quality issues, and realizing and looking into the use of trained and carefully selected personnel is important to maintain the product quality and prevent mistakes during the production. How and why is there a need for proper record keeping, validation and systems for recall and complaints is important, because this helps in not only giving a clear picture of what went wrong with the product, who is at fault, and also giving a confidence to the patients and the consumers in that specific manufacturing organization. So the quality management is the comprehensive process of ensuring that a product or a service consistently meets a defined level of excellence and customer expectations. It involves a range of activities including planning, assurance, control and improvement to maintain consistent quality throughout the organization. The quality management system is a structured framework of policies, processes and procedures which are designed to ensure the consistent production of high quality products that meet the regulatory requirements and patient needs. It is crucial to maintain the safety, efficacy and compliance throughout the product life cycle, from the raw material to the finished product stage. So the quality management system involves the CAPA, change control, market compliance, the audit management, deviation management and the vendor qualification. So these all are monitored and kept look at so as to maintain the complete quality of the process. So the quality control involves operational techniques and activities that are used to assess product compliance to specifications. In general, it is concerned with evaluating events from the past. The QA is in general concerned with the events in the present. It is focused on building quality into the product through planned and systemic activities like validation, process and environmental control and documentation. So there are two main perspectives on the quality management, that is the success orientation, focusing on ensuring products and services meet their function and customer desires, and failure avoidance, that is which emphasizes on preventing products or process from falling or being misaligned with the customer needs. The ideal quality goal is thus to design products and processes that fulfill the real customer needs. So in all these processes we see that customer is the center for the development of the product, that is every process is oriented so as to satisfy the customer or the consumer needs. The quality management is guided by the principles that aim to continuously improve the performance and keep the customer focus at the center. addresses needs of all the interested stakeholders, that is regulators, employees, suppliers, and produces a quality product. So the key principles in the quality management are the consumer focus, that is the focus which depends on the customers and therefore should understand and meet the current and future consumer needs, striving to exceed the expectations. Leadership, the leaders should establish unity of purpose and direction. They create an environment where people are fully involved in achieving the organizational objectives. Involvement of people at all levels are essential, and their full involvement enables their abilities to be used for the organization's benefit. The process approach, a desired result is achieved more effectively when the related resources and activities are managed in a procedural format. Then the system approach to management, that is identifying, understanding and management interrelated processes as a system. This improves the efficiency and the effectiveness of the process. Continual improvement, this should be a permanent objective of the organization. And factual approach to decision making, so effective decisions are based on analysis of the data and the information. So the structure of an effective quality management system is that it is hierarchical and comprises documentation, that is policies, procedures and records that define core competencies and the system structure. Implementation, daily operational use of the documented process. Effectiveness, proven through monitoring, testing, data analysis and corrective and preventive action programs. So these are the core lines of the effective quality management system. The quality approaches which are used are the total quality management, which is comprehensive, company-wide effort is required. It focuses on long-term success through customer satisfaction and employs all the employees in the continuous improvement of the process and the quality. Next is the ISO quality standards. This provides a formalized system with a documented procedure, emphasizes on consistency, audits and compliance with international standards, and is widely used for certification and credibility. Then there are Malcolm Baldrige National Quality Award Framework. This is a performance excellence framework, encourages innovation, leadership and results driven strategy. This assesses the entire organizational performance, not just the product or service quality. So the quality approaches for effective quality management under different aspects and given under different types of approaches, that is TQM, ISO and the Malcolm framework approach. So the application scope of the first two is worldwide, the other is the national approach. The TQM, ISO and the Malcolm all cover the core competencies. The action team formation is based on the top management oversight, and in the case of your ISO, the action team formation is optional. In the case of the Malcolm, it is based on the top management oversight again. There is a standardization basis for each of these. So in the TQM, it is based on the customized standards. In the ISO, it is based on international standards with accredited national and international certification, and in the Malcolm framework, it is based on national standards with accredited national certification. So the ISO 9000 is a series of internationally recognized standards for quality management systems, published by the International Organization for Standardization and managed by accreditation and certification bodies. This focuses on quality practices, not on product specification. It's not a product standard. Defines generic requirements applicable to any organization regardless of the industry, size and type. The importance of the ISO is that it helps in the overall management of the industry, its processes, so that whatever output the industry, irrespective of the type, size and the industry, the quality output is ensured. So this requires influence of the management and the compliance of the management practices that affect how product services are designed, produced, delivered or installed. It promotes a broad range across the organization, targeting all the activities linked to the customer satisfaction. It provides a framework for standardizing and communicating quality management concepts globally. The ISO 9000 standards were prepared by the Technical Committee ISO TC 176, Quality Management and Quality Assurance Subcommittee 2 and Quality Systems. These standards in the family are the ISO 9000, which is Quality Management Quality Assurance Standard, then ISO 9001 Quality Systems, which are model for the quality assurance in design, development, production, installation and servicing. The 9002 series, this is the quality systems model for quality assurance in production, installation and servicing. 9003 series, the quality systems model for quality assurance in final inspection and testing, and 9004 series are the quality management quality systems elements guidelines for the quality management planning, implementation and performance improvements. So, the ISO 9000 series provides an understanding of the quality management systems, concepts and the terminology used in the family of standards. 9001 outlines requirements for the quality management systems useful for organizations designing and developing their own products. The 9001 helps organizations demonstrate they can consistently meet customer, regulatory and internal requirements. ISO 9002 is for organizations whose products are designed or serviced by subcontractors. ISO 9003 applies to testing laboratories and equipment distributors with no design control requirements. ISO 9004 provides guidance for designing, operating and improving management systems and organizational performance. ISO 9004 thus includes ISO 9001 requirements but lacks detailed explanations or guidance for compliance. So, the management responsibility is to define and document a quality policy aligned with the organizational goals and ensure it is understood and implemented at all levels. The quality system is to establish and maintain a quality system with a quality manual referring procedures and document structure. Also, it helps to maintain documented procedures to review contracts and ensure capability to maintain requirements before acceptance. Planning, assignment and verifying designs and development activities with proper documentation, validation and change control is there. Also, purchased products must meet the specified requirements, evaluated and selected subcontractors are deployed based on quality criteria. Then the customer supplied product must maintain procedures to verify, store and preserve customer supplied products and report any issues. The product identification traceability must be there. So, procedures for the identification throughout the production and ensuring traceability must be there. So, planning and controlling production and service process that impact the quality has to be there. Inspection and testing of the finished products for conformity before release with proper documentation must be ensured. Control, calibrate and maintain equipment to ensure reliable measurements. Clearly identify status regarding inspection tests throughout the product life cycle. Also, non-conforming product control must be there. So, identification, segregation, evaluation and documentation of the non-conforming products has to be there. Corrective and preventive actions help address root causes of non-conformities, implementing changes as needed and maintaining of their records. Statistical techniques are used to identify and apply statistical methods to control and verify product and process characteristics. So, in the ISO 9000 2000 series family of standard, this is based on a process model, a model that is intended to represent a process based quality management system. So, any process is an input which leads to a specific output. So, the requirements are based on the customers, and again the output is based on the customer satisfaction. So continual improvement of the quality is ensured, and there is the responsibility of the management to ensure continual improvement. Then resource management is there, product realization, then the measurement, analysis and improvement of the product, and this goes on the cycle, and value addition and the troubleshooting needs to be continuously being done in the continuous quality improvement model system. If the 250 or so requirements of ISO 9001 and the intentions of ISO 9004 were to be condensed into just 5 simple requirements, they read as follows. The organization shall determine the needs and expectations of customers, establish policies and objectives and a work environment necessary to motivate the organization to satisfy the needs, design and manage a system of interconnected process necessary to maintain the desired objectives, measure and analyze the adequacy, efficiency and effectiveness of each process in fulfilling its purpose and objectives, pursue the continual improvement of the system from an objective evaluation of its performance. So, the typical action plan to implement the ISO 9000 quality management system has been given in figure 7. The various aspects of quality management are the highest level framework outlining the organization's overall quality approach to ensuring product quality and patient safety is there. So, the quality assurance ensures the quality policy is effectively implemented, acts as a management tool to guarantee product quality and patient safety. It covers broad activities including documentation, inspections, audits and compliance. The good manufacturing practices are a subset of the quality assurance, which are focused on ensuring products they are consistently produced and they are controlled with respect to their quality, integrates quality into the product from the start and ensures production and testing follow the predefined standards. So, it all starts with the quality control and then moves to quality assurance and the complete quality management system. So, from defect detection to monitoring and keeping the process to taking the consumer into the picture and modifying and maintaining the quality becomes the part of the quality management system. In the quality control, a component of GMP that involves the testing of facilities, environment, raw materials, components and final products is there. It ensures conformity with the set quality standards. The production department is central to the quality management system. It helps ensure consistent product quality through in-process control, release checks and self-inspections. The role of QA across the product life cycle starts from the raw material procurement, continues through development, manufacturing, distribution and usage. It integrates various quality practices like the GMP, that is good manufacturing practices, good clinical practices, good storage practices and good laboratory practices. The key elements of a quality assurance system are that first it starts with the QC and then the broader picture and the broader quality management comes under the QA. So, the products are designed and developed with GMP, GLP and GCP in mind. Managerial roles and responsibilities are clearly defined. All controls on materials and process, example calibration, validation are properly conducted. The production and the control operations are well documented and follow the GMP. The finished products are tested, verified and released only by authorized personnel. Storage, distribution, handling maintain the product quality throughout the shelf life. Self-inspection and quality audits regularly assess the quality assurance system's effectiveness. Continuous evaluation ensures consistent process performance and ongoing improvement. The sources of quality variation are identified. So, the product quality relies on sampling and testing. The production practices are critical. the manufacturing department holds prime responsibility for maintaining the product quality. Poor manufacturing can cause composition errors, contamination, mislabeling and non-compliance. The QA must set up checkpoints throughout the production, that is from raw materials to finished product generation. There must be checkpoints to assess and control the quality variation of the product, and this is done generally by use of in process flow charts, the SOPs, that is standard operating procedures, standard testing procedures, and the workflow designs which ensure how the material is flowing from one point to another. Then the QA activities must include the raw material and component testing, in process and packaging inspections, labeling and final product testing, batch auditing and stability studies. Now, the control of the variation of the quality can occur from the raw material till the finished product stage. So, the raw material specifications must be precise, complete and include test methods, instruments and sampling procedures. The CGMP 21 CFR 211.42 mandates proper receiving, sampling, testing, storage and record keeping of the raw materials. All received raw materials are inspected, assigned lot numbers and quarantined until approved. Sampling and testing are done by the QC lab following the standard procedures. Approved materials are labeled and then released. So, quarantining is separation of the untested material. Only once it is tested and approved, it is released for use in the manufacturing, that is used by the production department. Retesting is scheduled to ensure materials still meet specifications at the time of use. Rejected materials must be properly documented and disposed as per the procedure. So, the process of the quality control in the pharmaceuticals start with sampling, testing and then instrument calibration is done. Then the documentation and date recording is done, review and interpretation is done, then the cutoff specification is done, then based on that continuous improvement, reporting, record keeping, release or rejection decision, then documentation review and stability testing. So, these are all the major aspects of the quality validation of the product or the quality control of the product. So, the raw material quality assurance monograph has various sections. The first is the general, wherein the structural formula, molecular weight, chemical name, item number, date of use, date of superseding of any previous document, signature of writer and signature of approval is there. Then the samples are there, wherein safety requirements, sample plan and procedure, sample size and container to be used and preservation of the sample, the requirements for that are mentioned. Then the retest program for the retesting, the schedule is there, reanalysis to confirm the integrity, identity, strength and quality and purity of the product is there. Then the description, general specification, solubility, identity, chemical tests, the absorption, whether UV or IR or NMR tests, melting range tests, chromatographic analysis, purity and quality, spectral analysis, purity, any special requirements, assays, microbial limits are to be specified in the specification of the raw material. So, these all things need to be mentioned in the raw material specification list. Then the test procedures, how these parameters which are listed in the specifications are to be tested. So, the compendial references or non-compendial references which will be used for testing of these specific quality, like what is the solubility, how are you going to test it, which method you are going to test. So, that is mentioned in the test procedures, the method by which these specific parameters would be tested. Then the approved suppliers, list of the prime and approved alternative suppliers who will be supplying the raw materials is mentioned. Now, the active materials, that is the material which is responsible for the action, the pharmacological action of the product, that is the dosage form has to be also monitored. So the USP NF monographs must cover active materials but cannot capture all due to the wide variability. So purity level selection is critical and should balance practicality, safety and efficacy. The purity standards, typically more than 97% is enlisted for all compendial methods. Common specifications like solubility, melting range, residue on ignition, metals, impurities, assay, etc. are also included. The assay methods are usually chemical, and then the compendial tests also enlist the legal minimum amount which must be present. So stricter specifications are needed for some products. Advanced instrumentations are required like HPLC, GC, TLC, fluorimetry or spectrophotometry, polarography. Special tests may be needed for microbiological, pharmacological, particle size, crystal formation or polymorphic analysis. The current good manufacturing practice compliance requires assigning reassay dates to all raw materials to ensure purity and potency at the use time. Antibiotics. Official analytical methods for antibiotics are listed in the Code of Federal Regulations, not just in USP NF. The CFR Title 21 Parts 436, 442 and 455 specify the required tests for human use antibiotics. The testing methods may be chemical, microbiological, biological or a combination. Sampling precautions must be taken care of and are required dry, clean and contamination free environment with minimal exposure time. Then the potency assay is critical since it affects the calculation of working formula quantities. Since the potency value in terms of micrograms per milligram obtained for the material is used in calculating the number of grams or kilograms required for the working formula procedures. The potency testing protocol requires minimum 6 assays, that is 2 weighings in 3 days. Then acceptable if results are within plus minus 2% confidence interval at p is equal to, that is significance level 0.05. If the variance is high, additional assays are to be done until reliable mean potency is achieved. Inactive and inert materials form the bulk of the dosage form and must meet strict physical and chemical specifications. The important physical characteristics include color, odor, foreign matter and particle size. Key chemical and safety tests like heavy metal content, arsenic, selenium, water content, residue on ignition, pH and microbial limits must be tested. Only FDA approved dyes or lakes are permitted. Color aids in identification and not therapeutic action must be used. Colorant analysis includes identity tests, volatile matter, heavy metal, water insoluble matter, arsenic, lead and synthetic impurities tests. Color lakes also must be tested for chloride, sulfate and inorganic matter. The sweeteners like sucrose, glucose, mannitol, lactose, sorbitol, crystalline or liquid, saccharin, sodium saccharin, calcium saccharin, aspartame must be evaluated before use. Impurity testing is essential due to side reactions during synthesis. Example, furfuryaldehyde in lactose reducing sugars in mannitol are generated. Quality tests typically include water content, heavy metal residue on ignition, arsenic. Special tests like specific rotation, melting range, selenium and the readily carbonizable substances test must be done. Then next is the in-process items control, which are essential to minimize within batch and batch to batch variation. This ensure uniform purity and quality of the dosage form can be achieved by identifying and controlling critical steps in manufacturing within the defined process limits. Then environmental and microbiological control and sanitation is important. Effective sanitation programs are essential to ensure high quality finished dosage forms. Extermination measures must control insects and rodents both inside and outside the plant. Personal hygiene, that is cleanliness, proper clothing, hair covering, is critical to prevent contamination. Facility surfaces like floors, walls, ceiling must be easy to clean, durable and in good repair. Ventilation systems include must contain or remove dust. Use of filters, dust collectors and scrubbers, these must be routinely checked and monitored for air quality at workstations. Water supply, whether potable, distilled or deionized, must maintain adequate pressure. Chemically and microbiologically pure, and deionizers should be monitored and maintained regularly. The quality assurance should monitor the sanitation programs, that is insecticide usage, cleaning of the buildings and equipment, and ventilation, that is filter checks, pressure, temperature, humidity and microbial load. Water quality at the point of use, including flushing protocols and QC clearance, must also be monitored. Next is the good manufacturing practices. Ensure pharmaceutical products are consistently manufactured and controlled to the quality standards. The CGMP refers to current GMP requiring use of up-to-date technologies. This applies to all drugs, whether prescription or over the counter, and focuses on preventing contamination, mix-ups and errors during the manufacturing and testing. This emphasizes on proper documentation, control process, as well as the well-maintained personnel and which are trained. Two major risks which are addressed are the cross-contamination, that is unintended presence of other drugs or substances, and mix-ups which are likely because of incorrect labeling or product confusion. The GMP guidelines, that is as per WHO and global standards, the WHO GMP guidelines are the minimum basic standards for countries manufacturing pharmaceuticals locally. These guidelines are not always accepted for international trade, and countries must prefer the EU or FDA standards for the international trade. They generally prefer EU or FDA standards. The first WHO GMP was established by WHO Health Assembly in 1967, published in 1968, and then further revised in 71, 75 and 1992. The structure of WHO GMP guidelines are that in the part 1, the general approach to quality assurance and GMP systems are mentioned, and part 2, division of responsibilities between production and the quality control personnel is mentioned. In the part 3, the annexes or supplementary guidelines, initially including manufacturing for the sterile pharmaceutical products and GMP for active pharmaceutical ingredients are mentioned. Also, all manufacturing processes must be clearly defined, systematically reviewed based on experience. It must be validated to consistently yield products of required quality. All necessary resources must be provided, including appropriately qualified and trained personnel, the adequate premises and workspace, suitable equipment and support services, approved raw material, containers and labels, written procedures and instructions. Storage and transport systems must be suitable as per the product requirement to maintain the quality. Records must be maintained manually or electronically to confirm all defined steps were completed, to verify quantity and quality match expectations, with all deviations recorded and investigated. So, different versions of GMP are there. As countries enhance their pharmaceutical standards, many aim to develop their own GMP guidelines. A few older GMP versions developed 30 years ago still exist, reflecting early stages of the quality manufacturing practices. While wording varies among different national GMP versions, the core principles and goals remain the same. Differences between GMP systems mostly are about the degree of implementation and interpretation and not the fundamental intent. So, the different versions of GMP in use around the world have been mentioned in table 4. Once certified to an organization, it is authorized, and the certification of companies' products and processes is done. which means that the quality standards are adequate, up to date and controlled for the intended use by the consumer. So, the certification steps are that a gap assessment is done, then employee training, then documentation development, then executing the implementation of the documentation and the identified gap, then internal audits are conducted, and then the certification is done and the audit of the same is conducted. So, this is the typical action plan to implement the quality management system as per ISO 9000. The benefits of GMP are that most GMP requirements are very general, open-ended and provide much flexibility, allowing each manufacturer to decide individually how best it can be implemented to necessitate the controls of the process. The GMP is a good business tool which helps to refine both compliance and performance of the company, and the GMP requirements are largely common sense practices which will help companies better itself as it moves forward towards a quality approach using continuous improvement. So, the components of the GMP are basically based on people's processes, procedures and premise and equipment inputs, which all combined lead to the generation of a quality product. Thus, to conclude, the quality management system is not limited to final products testing, but spans the entire life cycle of the pharmaceutical product from raw material procurement to distribution. The GMP and QA are essential frameworks that ensure medicines are consistently produced to meet the quality standards and product the patient safety. The role of personal environmental control, sanitation and proper documentation cannot be overstated. They form the backbone of a robust quality system. Regulatory compliance with international guidelines like WHO, FDA, EU ensure global acceptance and trust in the product. Ultimately, a culture of quality driven by training, monitoring and continuous improvement is key to manufacturing effective and safe pharmaceutical products. So, as we have seen in the last few lectures, and we have stressed a lot, given a lot of stress on the statistical quality control tools, the quality management, what quality is, why validation is important, how we can put in place these processes. You would now have got an idea of how the industries move before or plan before actually going to the market. So, a lot of background work with respect to certification, quality assessment, quality improvement, putting in place these guidelines and these protocols occurs so as to deliver the right best quality product, as quality is a relative term, within this specific set of specifications and regulatory body guidelines. They try to give the best quality product and also move with the motive of continuously improving the quality of the product. So, I hope you would have got some fundamental understanding of what quality means and how quality is important in the pharmaceutical products along with the OTC products, which are the over the counter products. Thank you very much for your patient hearing.